Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Aziz. I've been in crypto since 2015. Today I want to talk about Solana and why I personally have changed my to investing, as in why I decided to add Solana to my portfolio and why I decided to accumulate Solana. Previously, I wasn't a big fan of Solana, and I was basically like you can call it sort of like a ETH maxi. ETH is the reason why I actually got into crypto. It wasn't actually Bitcoin, it was Ethereum and the smart contracts that got me interested. And so anything that wasn't decentralized or completely decentralized, I was like a bit skeptical about it in terms of investing. But a few things have happened, which is what I want to basically talk about in this video. So stay until the end, because I do have some concerns as well about Solana, and I want to mention them at the end in my conclusion. So first things first, Solana is basically another layer one. It has a slightly different architecture. I don't want to go into the specifics of what Solana is. There's many videos doing that. I mainly want to just talk about my specific reasons of why I decided to change my mind and add Solana to my portfolio. So here you can see their Twitter, their website. So I just want to get the main thing of the elephant out of the room, basically. So Solana's like known to be, slightly more centralized than some of the other networks out there, and there's been network outages, etc. And so this personally for me, it's an issue technologically, but I don't see this in terms of being a barrier for the token price to appreciate, because the way I see it is, as long as the project is continuously building, a lot of these things will be forgotten. And in crypto, we've seen so many times, like, people forget about FUD very fast. They forget about, so I see FUD and these FTX thing as a opportunity to buy, and at the end I'll talk about like the X's, etc., potentially what what it can do potentially till if it reaches the all-time high, etc. But basically I just want to address this thing, like it's centralized, etc. Everyone already knows this. The team doesn't try to prove that they're the most decentralized network, or they're not trying to claim to be the most decentralized network. If you want a more decentralized network to build on, there's Ethereum out there. Solana's not trying to do what Bitcoin and Ethereum's doing. They're doing something else, right? And these network outages, etc., I believe in the future they'll be able to patch them up, and there'll be less and less of them. And we've seen this is experimental technology, right? So you can't expect a technology this new, this early in the stages, not to have any issues, right? And so this is I just want to address this. So in terms of my reasons and what basically kind of changed my mind, there's a lot of people in the industry that I respect, and I look into what they say, and I always try to learn from them. Even though I've been in crypto for a while, I always try to learn from some of the better investors, or some people that I look up to that have very good rationale, that are not like maxis or anything like that. So one thing I want to talk about is this video here by Bankless. So everyone knows Bankless. They're like pretty much the go-to Ethereum, one of the best places for Ethereum knowledge, and these guys are like big fans of decentralization, etc. They themselves have got Anatoly, who's one of the founders of Solana, on their podcast to understand more about it, because they also realize that when it comes to investing and crypto, etc., you have to be open-minded. If there's a new ecosystem building, and I will talk more about what there is in Solana, you can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be in Ethereum or Cosmos. I do like those ecosystems. You can't just be like, yeah, they're decentralized. This isn't. The market is saying something else. If the market says that this platform might not be good enough for NFTs, like we saw with Ethereum in the bull market, the fees were so high. The market's saying something else, so you also have to look at that. And then also there's this other video by Chris Beniski where they've got he's basically, Chris Beniski previously, he was part of ARK, which is one of the big funds, right, traditional funds, and then and now he's got his own fund called Placeholder. Now this, obviously I'll leave the timestamps in the description, but they also ask him about Solana and what they think about what he sees in Solana, and he basically talks about, he's also got a thread which I'll share in the description also. He basically talks about how it reminds him, in another tweet I saw, he was talking about how it reminds him of the early days of Ethereum, right? And so they basically ask him, and he also talks about what he thinks about Solana, and he says basically that they're trying to do something different than Ethereum, and they do have they do have use cases, and there is developer activity, etc., which I'll go into later on. And they are trying to do something different, and he sees enough in the ecosystem for them to have made a bet, right? Placeholder as a fund. And so these tweets are quite interesting as well. He talks about what he thinks, and he says, while it has competitors, I anticipate Solana will be the blockchain ecosystem known for consensus near the speed of light, in part because it has the OG to pursue this vision, and that will attract builders that prioritize speed with sufficient decentralization. And that's what it is, guys. Like, sufficient decentralization is what I think is key in this tweet, because not everything has to be maximum decentralized. Maybe like for Bitcoin's use case as money or digital gold, that needs to be important, like decentralization maximum, right? But for some application, you don't need that level of decentralization. Maybe you can have slightly lesser, and then obviously if something that you need more decentralization, you can use ETH or maybe L2. And so I also like Solana because it's a different architecture to Cosmos, which is the app chain thesis, right? And so that's what I see. Like, you don't have to just be in one ecosystem. I mean, the second rule of investing, apart from not putting more money than you're willing to lose, right? The second rule is to diversify. And so this is why I see ETH, Cosmos and Solana, and there's like my top four, and obviously with Phantom, which I'll probably do a video on later. But he says it here that Solana, and even in this top tweet, right, people he pretty much might have called the bottom around $10 when he tweeted this, which is very recent, December 30th, right? So it's just 2 months ago, just over 2 months ago. And so also I wanted to mention this video by Invest Answers, very good channel, highly recommend it. I'll put the link of this in the description. But he basically done a video called Is Solana Dead? And he basically talks about all the stats. This is why I didn't want to go into the stats of like the developer stats and all these, but he basically pulls out charts after charts after charts after charts. So these are straight facts on chain, etc., and different websites, right? And the conclusion he comes down to, Solana isn't dead. Here you have a video of Raul Pal on Altcoin Daily, and he also talks about his why he thinks Solana, like why a lot of people are wrong about Solana, etc. So that's quite fascinating. And Raul Pal, obviously we know, is legendary investor, macro guru. Here you got a report by Electric Capital. I think this report is excellent. Here it says ecosystem with 1,000+ developers grew Solana 83%, guys. And then the Polygon 40%, Cosmos, and these are other ecosystem that I like. Polkadot not so much, probably going to do a video on that another day. Here it says, let's focus on ecosystem under 150 full-time developers. Okay, so out of under 150, Solana has the most. And these are not like one-off. Full-time is important metric, because when you have certain like events and stuff, one blockchain could have a lot of developers, etc. But if you look at full-time, that kind of gives you the a very good picture, right? So I'm imagining on top of this you probably got Cosmos, Polkadot, and Ethereum, and obviously Bitcoin. But under 150 full-time developers, Solana has the most. So clearly shows in terms of developer activity is doing quite good numbers, and obviously I can see it grow. I do have some concerns. I'll just talk about it at the end of the video. Lastly, I just want to talk about their phone. So this is the industry that I understand. My background is actually in technology. I've worked for tech companies in the past, and I used to have a YouTube channel on tech. I've deactivated it, but basically I really like technology, like phones, etc. I used to be in that before I got into crypto. Anyway, so this phone, so they got a phone that's going to launch soon called Saga, and these are the basic specs, right? So I believe, like, if it's a really good Android phone that has their feature on top, then it can actually be successful. I personally, I don't like big phones. I like phones around 6 inches. I don't like big phones. But if they do have, we've seen it with other brands. So there's a brand called OnePlus. If you guys know about the phone industry, OnePlus has done great work. There's a new company by the same CEO called Nothing. They're also doing quite well. And OnePlus, we've seen, within a few years, they became, fair enough, they weren't completely new. They were backed by another Chinese company, but it was a new brand for, American America and Europe, right? So this is they're doing it in collaboration with another company called Essential. They've made phones before, and so I believe that this could actually be another gateway to Solana and just the general awareness of Solana. If people, if they make an actual good Android phone, like that's the key. They have to make a good Android phone with their features on top. It can't be the other way around, because people want a phone first, and then if it does the normal phone features very good, then they'll look at the other stuff as a plus. And so I think this also, they've previously got experience in Qualcomm, etc. If they do manage the specs are very good, the phone looks good as well. Personally don't like these buttons, but I mean that's not a biggie. But the design is very modern, the OLED display, etc. It's up to date with the latest Android specs. So that's also another reason why I see Solana can potentially, the awareness, the token price, etc. long term could do well. And also, we could just quickly look at Solana all-time high charts, etc. But it's basically around 250. So even from here, it's around 10x from here just to get to all-time high. And then, if it goes down, me personally, I have got a position and I plan to increase on it like around $20, around 17 and 15, every few dollars down. My plan is to accumulate more until like $10 is $8, I think was the bottom. So that's my personal plan with it. And then in terms of my concerns, etc., I've got one main concern. That is basically if their main USP or unique selling point is just to be a fast blockchain, then you have other projects coming out like Aptos and Sui that might take developer share from them. But I believe the pie is big enough, and the pie can only grow, right? So there's a very small industry. So I believe right now there is nothing to be concerned about, but something to keep an eye on. In that sense, that if they're claiming this to be the very fast blockchain, what happens when there's another blockchain that's even faster, right? That's centralized also, right? And so that's the other main concern I have about it. But right now, it hasn't deterred me from accumulating the token. And that's basically it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.